I love you. Some time ago I thought you had run out of fools, but I was so wrong. You got one that you'll never lose. The way you treat me is a shame. How could you hurt me so bad? Baby, you know that I'm the best thing that you ever had. Kiss me once again. Don't you never, never say that we're through. 'Cause I ain't never, 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 no, loved a man the way that I love you. I can't sleep at night, and I can't eat a bite. I guess I'll never be free since you got your hooks in me. Oh, 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 yeah, yeah. I ain't never loved a man. I ain't never loved a man, baby. Ain't never had a man that hurt me so bad. No, but this is what I'm gonna do about it. I tell you, I'm gonna hold on, take me to heart, and I'll always love you. And nobody can make me do wrong. Take me for granted, leaving love unshown. Takes willpower, weak, and temptation strong. A woman's only human. You should understand. She's not just a plaything. She's flesh and blood, just like her man. If you wanna do right, whole day, woman, you gotta be a do-right, whole night man. Yeah, yeah, they say that it's a man's world, but you can't prove that by me. And as long as we're together, baby, show some respect for me. If you wanna do right, whole day, woman, you've gotta be a do-right, whole night man. A woman's only human. This you should understand. She's not just a plaything. She's flesh and blood, just like a man. If you wanna do right, whole day, woman, you gotta be a do-right, whole night man. You gotta be a do-right, whole
Hello, everybody. I'm working, so okay. Thanks, Chris, for stopping by. That's Kaboom. Get it right. Glad you're here, everybody. Special tribute to the Queen of Soul tonight. Had to play that one, and I'll play it at the end of the show. Special tribute. Cool, Chris. If you gotta go, you gotta go. Totally get it. Hope you're busy. Making money, hopefully. Yes, the Queen of Soul, Miss Aretha Franklin tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about her, and no, it's just not rock and roll. She was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so there you go. I'm going to talk a little about her, then without further ado, we'll get right into her music. She was an American singer, songwriter, and pianist. She began her career as a child singing gospel at the new Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, but she was actually born in Memphis, Tennessee. She embarked on a secular career at age 18 in 1960. Wow, so many years ago. She achieved only modest success then and acclaim after signing with Atlantic Records in '66. Um, she's received numerous honors throughout her career. And her induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was in 1987, the first female performer to be inducted. The National Medal of Arts, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She was inducted in the UK Music Hall of Fame in 2005 and to the Gospel Music Hall of Fame in 2012. She is listed in two all-time lists by Rolling Stones magazine, including the 100 Greatest Artists of All Time and 100 Greatest Singers of All Time. In 2008, she was ranked by Rolling Stone as the #1 greatest singer of all time. So there you go. Yeah, she was born in Memphis, Tennessee. She did live in New York for a short time. And then they eventually moved to Detroit, where her father permanently relocated the family, where he took over the pastorship of the New Bethel Baptist Church. They had a troubled marriage. Her father, because of his philandering, and this is really unheard of back then, but in 1948, the couple separated, where Barbara relocated back to Buffalo with her son Vaughn from her previous relationship. Her mother did not abandon her children. Not only did Aretha recall seeing her mother in Buffalo, but Barbara also frequently visited her children in Detroit. But she died of a heart attack on March 7th, 1952, before Aretha's 10th birthday. And her father's emotionally driven sermons resulted in his being known as a man with the $1 million voice and earning thousands of dollars for sermons in various churches across the country. His celebrity status led to his home being visited by various celebrities, among them gospel musicians Clara Ward, James Cleveland, and early Caravans members Albertina Walker, as well as Martin Luther King Jr., Jackie Wilson, and Sam Cooke. So just after her mother's death, she began singing solos at New Bethel. When she was 12, her father began managing her, bringing her on the road with him during a so-called gospel caravan, tours for her to perform in various churches. He helped his daughter sign her first recording deal with D.W.D Records. Recording equipment was installed in the church, and 9 tracks were recorded, featuring Franklin on vocals and piano. Franklin sometimes traveled with the Soul Stirrers during this time, and according to music producer Quincy Jones, while Franklin was still young, Dinah Washington let him know Aretha was the next one. In '58, Franklin and her father traveled to California, where she met Sam Cooke. At the age of 16, Franklin went on tour with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and in 1968 sang at his funeral. Franklin spent summers on the circuit in Chicago, staying with Staples' family. After turning 18, she confided to her father she aspired to follow Sam Cooke in recording pop music and moved to New York. Her manager, CL, agreed to the move and helped produce a 2-song demo that was brought to the attention of Columbia Records, who agreed to sign her in 1960. She was signed as a 5% artist. During this period, Franklin would be coached by choreographer Charlie Atkins to prepare for her pop performances. Before signing with Columbia, Sam Cooke tried to persuade Franklin's father to have his label, RCA, sign Franklin. He had also been courted by a local record label owner, Berry Gordy, to sign her and her elder sister. Franklin's first Columbia single, Today I Sing the Blues, was issued in September 1960 and later reached the top 10 of the Hot Rhythm and Blues Sellers chart. In January 61, Columbia issued Franklin's first secular album, Aretha, with the Ray Bryant combo. Mostly produced by Clyde Otis, Franklin's Columbia recording saw her performing in diverse genres such as standards, vocal jazz, blues, doo-wop. And I just lost my place. I hate when I do that, but she was busy even at a young age. And before the year, doo-wop and rhythm and blues, of course. Before the year was out, Franklin scored her first top 40 single with her rendition of the standard Rockabye Your Baby with a Dixie melody. Rockabye became her first international hit, reaching the top 40 in Australia and Canada. By the end of 61, she was named as a new star female vocalist in Downbeat magazine. In 62, Columbia issued 2 more albums, The Electrifying Aretha Franklin and The Tender, The Moving, The Swinging Aretha Franklin. The latter reached number 69 on the Billboard chart. In the 1960s, during a performance at the Regal Theater, a WVON radio personality announced Franklin should be crowned the Queen of Soul. By 64, she began recording more pop music, reaching the top 10 on the R&B chart with the ballad Running Out of Fools. In early 65, she had 2 R&B charted singles, One Step Ahead and Cry Like a Baby. She also reached the easy listening charts with the ballads You Made Me Love You. By the mid-60s, she was netting $100,000 from countless performances in nightclubs and theaters. She appeared on rock and roll shows such as Hollywood A Go-Go and Shindig. She struggled with commercial success while at Columbia label. Columbia label executive Hammond later said he felt Columbia did not understand Franklin's early gospel background and failed to bring that aspect out. In 66, after 6 years with Columbia, Franklin chose not to renew her contract and signed to Atlantic Records. In 67, she traveled to Alabama to record Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, which we played. Franklin only spent 1 day recording at FAME as an altercation broke out between manager and husband Ted White, studio owner Rick Hall, and the sessions were abandoned. The song was released the following month and reached number 1 on the R&B chart, but also peaking at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100, giving Franklin her first top 10 pop single. The other side, Do Right Woman, Do Right Man, which we also played, reached the R&B top 40, peaking at number 37. In April, Atlantic released her frenetic version of Otis Redding's Respect, was shot to number 1 on the R&B and pop charts. Respect became her signature song and was later hailed as a civil rights and feminist anthem. Her debut Atlantic album, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, also became commercially successful, later going gold. She scored 2 more top 10 singles in 67, including Baby I Love You and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. The creation of the majority of Franklin's peak recording with Atlantic was her rapport with her producer Jerry Wexler. In 68, she issued the top-selling albums Lady Soul and Aretha Now, which included some of Franklin's most popular hit singles, of course, Chain of Fools, Ain't No Way, and I Say a Little Prayer. That February, Franklin earned the first of her 2 Grammys, including the debut category for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. She was also honored with a day named for her and was greeted by longtime friend Martin Luther King Jr., who gave her the SCLC Drumbeat Award for Musicians 2 months before his death. Franklin toured outside the U.S. for the first time in May, including an appearance in Amsterdam, which she played to a near-hysterical audience who covered the stage with flower petals. She appeared on the cover of Time magazine in June. Her success expanded during the early 70s, during which she recorded top 10 singles such as Spanish Harlem, Rocksteady, and Daydreaming, as well as acclaimed albums Spirit in the Dark, Young, Gifted, and Black, and her gospel album Amazing Grace, which sold more than 2 million copies. In 71, Franklin became the first R&B performer to headline Fillmore West, that year later on releasing the live album. Her career began to experience problems while recording the album Hey Now Hey, which featured production from Quincy Jones. And despite the success of the single Angel, the album bombed upon its release in 73. She continued to have R&B success with songs such as Until You Come Back to Me and I'm in Love. But by 75, her albums and songs were no longer top sellers. After Jerry Wexler left Atlantic for Warner Brothers in 76, Franklin worked on the soundtrack to the film Sparkle with Curtis Mayfield. The album yielded Franklin's final top 40 hit of the decade, Something He Can Feel, which also peaked at number 1 on the R&B chart. Her follow-up albums for Atlantic included Sweet Passion, La Diva, and bombed on the charts. And in 79, she left the company. In 1980, Franklin signed with Clive Davis's Arista Records and gave a command performance at London's Royal Albert Hall in front of Queen Elizabeth. She also had an acclaimed guest role as a waitress in the 1980 comedy The Blues Brothers. You go. Her first Arista album, Aretha, featured number 3 R&B hit United Together and her Grammy-nominated cover of Redding's I Can't Turn You Loose. The follow-up in 1981, Love All the Hurt Away, included her famed duet of the title track with George Benson. But it also included her Grammy-winning cover of Sam and Dave's Hold On, I'm Coming. She achieved gold record for the first time in 7 years with the 82 album Jump to It. The album's title track was her first top 40 singles on the pop charts in 6 years. The following year, she released Get It Right, produced by Luther Vandross. In 85, inspired desire to have a younger sound in her music, Who's Zoomin' Who became her first Arista album to be certified platinum. The album sold well over 1 million copies. The next year's Aretha album nearly matched this success with the hit singles Jumpin' Jack Flash, Jimmy Lee, and I Knew You Were Waiting for Me, her international number 1 duet with George Michael. Franklin provided vocals to the theme songs of different TV shows, A Different World and Together. In 87, she issued her third gospel album, One Lord, One Faith, One Baptism, which was recorded at her late father's New Bethel Church. In 98, Franklin returned to the top 40 with the produced song A Rose Is Still a Rose, later issuing the album of the same name, which went gold. That same year, Franklin earned international acclaim for her performance at the Grammy Awards. And she filled in at the last minute for Luciano Pavarotti, who canceled after the show had begun. Her final Arista album, So Damn Happy, was released in 2003. In 2004, Franklin announced she was leaving Arista after more than 20 years. In 2014, Franklin was signed under RCA Records, controller of the Arista catalog and a sister label to Columbia, of course through Sony Music, and was working with Clive Davis. An album was planned with producers Babyface and Danger Mouse. On September 29, 2014, Franklin performed to a standing ovation with Cissy Houston as backup. Franklin's cover of Rolling in the Deep was featured among 9 other songs in her first RCA release in October of 2014. In doing so, she became the first woman to have 100 songs on Billboard's Hot R&B Hip-Hop Songs chart with the success of her cover of Adele's Rolling in the Deep. In December 2015, Franklin gave an acclaimed performance, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, at the Kennedy Center Honors during the section for honoree Carole King, who co-wrote the song. During the bridge of the song, Franklin dropped her fur coat to the stage, for which the audience rewarded her with a mid-performance standing ovation. She returned to Detroit's Ford Field on Thanksgiving Day to once again perform the national anthem. Seated behind the piano, wearing a black fur coat and lion stocking cap, Franklin gave a rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner that lasted more than 4 minutes. Franklin was one of the giants of soul music and indeed of American pop as a whole. More than any other performer, she epitomized soul at its most gospel-charged. She had often been described as a great singer-musician due to her vocal flexibility, interpretive intelligence, skillful piano playing, and her experience. She was praised for her arrangements and interpretations of other artists' hit songs. What distinguishes her is not merely the breadth of her catalog or the cataract force of her vocal. It's her musical intelligence, her way of singing behind the beat, of spraying a wash of notes over a single word or syllable, of constructing, moment by moment, the emotional power of a 3-minute song. And we're going to talk about a little bit about her influences. And she has so many contributions to the music industry, and her contributions to music, her influence. And of course, we just lost the Queen of Soul. And she was 76, but she had pancreatic cancer, and of course we all know, Patrick Swayze also had it. She took soul music to a new level and inspired generations of singers who came after her. She came to prominence, obviously, as a kind of the face of soul music as it became this mainstream cultural phenomenon, but describe her as the greatest American singer of the 20th century because of her mastery of multi-genres. The Queen of Soul, of course, that was her nickname, was her ability to master different genres and her legacy. She's also deeply steeped in the blues. She has a capacity to sing gospel, but she was also adept at singing jazz. She could sing pop standards alongside Barbra Streisand, who was her label mate in the 60s before she moved to Atlantic. She had this capacity to able to own any song in any genre in which she added her voice to. You always have to remember Otis Redding's song, right? The way that she literally stops and spells out respect. Even though it wasn't a political song, it had renaissance amongst African Americans as a political song, and obviously becomes an obvious reference when we start to see the women's movement in the late 60s and early 70s. Otis Redding famously said after he heard her version of the song, "That gal done stole my song," but then he goes, "She's a friend, so it's okay." She earned that nickname. She really, really did. And of course, her roots singing gospel at the Baptist churches and the song "Mary, Don't You Weep." Of course, on her song "Over Bridge Over Troubled Water," it's a Simon & Garfunkel song. She does 3 nights at the Fillmore West in 71. Jerry Wexler, who again was the producer at the time, says, "Let's go conquer the hippies." And so in this crowd of hippies, literally, she takes standards of that era and transforms them into something that was just something else. That same 3-night stand, she does a song called "Spirit in the Dark," and she's joined on stage by Ray Charles. It's just an amazing tribute to see who she was and who she was able to reach, and she earned a whole new audience with that successful stand. What aspiring singers can learn from Franklin is she performed for 60 years. She had a 60-year career, even as her voice changed and matured and became more weathered. It sounded different, but she was in such control. She was absolutely brilliant. So, R.I.P. Aretha Franklin. Yes, she did earn that nickname. And she really influenced Elton John and Mariah and Carey. But some of all-time greats, singing her praise long before her passing, proves her impact on music will live on forever. Here's how 5 amazing singers described her influence on their music. Natalie Cole. She was and remains one of the most closely compared singers to Franklin, and the two were considered rivals for many years. In 76, the New York Times even ran an article with the headline, "Will Natalie Cole be the new Queen of Soul?" No, we know that. Of course, Natalie scoffed at the comparisons. Cole sang covers of Franklin songs when she was first starting out and had this to say about it. All her stuff, you name it, I did it. I love that lady. I love that lady. I had almost every album she made up until 3 or 4 years ago. Big influence on her. How about Chaka Khan? When people come and talk and tell her, "You're the queen," I say, "Oh, no, no, no. I'm the lady in waiting." Khan said about Franklin in 2017. As long as Aretha is alive, she is the queen. Whitney Houston's connection to Franklin was more than just professional. Her mother, Emily Sissy, sang backup for the Queen of Soul. When she was about 12, she would go into her basement where her mother had her recording equipment, and she would take the mic and put on Aretha, and we'd go at it for hours. This is what Houston told Ebony magazine in '85. "I'd just close my eyes and sing all by myself and imagine I was on stage singing to a packed house." Jennifer Hudson. Hudson has reportedly been picked to portray Franklin in an upcoming biop and says the singer is an influence on her personally. And she says, "It is an incredible honor that Aretha Franklin would choose me to play the legacy that is her life on film. I have always looked up to her and her career." And Mr. Luther Vandross. He cited his deep study of Franklin and other great divas, singing as the way he first got into music, and even called himself an Arethacologist. So there you go. He worked with Franklin on several projects. In an interview about his influence, Vandross praised Franklin again and again. "I look at Aretha as a Daniel Boone of R&B. This woman got on TV and pioneered that type of singing to a mass appeal. Did you see Aretha in Portrait of a Legend flick? It showed how she was very young and out there singing her brains out to pop audiences. But she didn't compromise any of her musical feelings. She was Aretha from day one. And she said, 'Well, you'll come around, so I'm not going to you. You're going to come around to what I do.' That's why I respect her so much." In 1982, he told the Washington Post, "Aretha's among the most brilliant singer the planet has to offer." R.I.P. Queen of Soul. And here we go with some of her music.
I don't want nobody always sitting around me and my man. I don't want nobody always sitting right there looking at me and that man. Be it my mother, my brother, or my sister. Would you believe I get up, put on ain't no way for me to love you. If you want, let me. It ain't no way for me to give you all you need. If you won't let me give all of me, I know that a woman's duty is to help and love a man, and that's the way it was for me. Oh, but how can I give you all the things I can if you're tying both of my hands? Oh, it ain't no way. Ain't no way. It ain't no way. Ain't no way. It just ain't no way, baby. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, baby. Ain't no way. It ain't no way for me to love you. If you won't let me. Stop trying to be someone you're not. Hard-cold cruel is a man who paid too much for what he got. And if you need me, like you say you do, oh, baby, don't you know that I need you? It ain't no way. I tell you that it ain't no way, it ain't no way, it ain't no way, baby. No, it just ain't no way. It sure ain't no way. It ain't no way for me to love you. If you won't let me. Ain't no way. If you won't let me. Ain't no way. Though you don't call anymore, I sit and wait in vain. Like it's a rap on your door, tap on your window pane. Tap on your window pane. Rock steady, baby, that's what I feel now. Let's call the song exactly what it is. Step and move your hips with a feeling from side to side. Sit yourself down in your car and take a ride. And while you're moving, rock steady, baby. Let's call this song exactly what it is. What it is, what it is, what it is. It's a funky and loud I'm feeling. What it is. In the hips from left to right. What it is I might be doing. What it is. This funk to dance all night. Oh, hands up in the air. Got a feeling ain't got a care. Rock steady, baby. Rock steady, baby. Step and move your hips with a feeling from side to side. Sit yourself down in your car and take a ride. While you're moving, rock steady, rock steady. Let's call this song exactly what it is. What it is, what it is, what it is. It's a funky and low down feeling. What it is. In the hips from left to right. What it is I might be doing. What it is. This funky dance all night. Oh, hands up in the air. Got a feeling ain't got a care. What's politics inside? Let's tell what on inside. Rock steady, baby. Rock steady. Woo, rock steady. This is a house that Jack built, y'all. Remember this house? This was the land that he worked by hand. It was the dream of an upright man. There was a room that was filled with love. It was a love that I was proud of. This is the life that he planned. On the love, the same old love in the house that Jack built. The house that Jack built. Remember this house? There was a fence that held our love. Yes, it was. There was a gate that he walked out of. This is my heart, it is turned to stone. Yes, it is. This is a house, it ain't no home. This is a used to feel so uninspired. And when I knew I had to face another day, Lord, it made me feel so tired. Before the day I met you, life was so unkind. And you're the key to my peace of mind. 'Cause you make me feel, you make Can't you see us coming together, talking about love, moving and grooving with love, living and giving with love, doing and moving with love, 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 love. Holy, holy, we proclaim love. We proclaim love and our salvation. Yeah, 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 yeah. Holy, 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 holy. Holy, holy, But right now, love, brother, love, right now, love. I am getting the spirit in the dark. I'm getting the spirit in the dark. People moving, oh, we're grooving. Just getting the spirit in the dark. Tell me, sister, how do you feel? Tell me, my brother, 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 how do you feel? If you feel like seesaw, going up and down, all around like a seesaw. Sometimes you tell me you're gonna be my sweet candy man, and then sometimes, baby, never know where I stand. You lift me up when I'm on the ground. But as soon as I get uptown, you send me tumbling down. Now your love is like a seesaw. Your love is like a seesaw, baby. Your love is like a seesaw, going up, down, all around. It's like a seesaw. When I kiss you and I like it, and I ask you to kiss me again. When I reach for you, you've jumped clean out of sight. You change just like the wind. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right, baby. Your love is like a seesaw. Your love is like a seesaw, baby. Your love is like a seesaw. wonderful to me to watch it grow inside yourself, to feel your heart beside itself. Sometimes it hurts to love so bad when you know you've given all you can. Sometimes it hurts to even ask. You do your best, but still it's much too sad. Sometimes the pain is just too much, and it hurts like hell. That's the way it feels. True love, it has no hiding place. It's not something you just put away. It's always there inside of you. And it shows in everything you do. Sometimes it hurts to love so bad when you know you've given it your best. Sometimes it hurts to even laugh. You feel 1,000 miles of happiness. Sometimes the pain is just too much, and it hurts like hell. That's the way it feels. Oh, here we are, the two of us, so full of love, so little trust, but dying for something
Would like to do a part of my life. I'd like to say it here. Oh!
Say it a little louder. Say it one more time. Yeah, yeah. I love you so. Well, yeah, yeah.
I love you.
Oh, yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
I love you.
I know you do.
I love you.
I know you do.
I love you.
I know you do.
Do you love me?
Yeah.
Do you love me?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you? I love you. I love you so.
Please don't go.
We love you. Another people, we won't go. We won't go. We won't go. Please, 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 I love you so. Right here.
Girl, I got to go. Got to go, man, really. Yeah, I'm kind of in a hurry. Here's the reason why.
Talk to it. Talk to it.
Shabba-doodle-doo-doo-doo.
Talk to it.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do baby. to it. I'm in a hurry, there's love to get. When my baby goes, I jump, jump, jump to it.
Jump, jump, jump to it.
Oh,
Jump, jump, jump to it.
ooh, I just can't wait till today at 4. That's when my sweet man said he would call. Hey, you won't keep me waiting. It's 3:59. Ring, ding, hello, baby. Ah, come please be mine. Girl, can't talk to you now. I got love to get. When my baby calls, I gotta jump to it. 'Cause I'm in a hurry, there's love to get. When my baby goes, I jump, jump, jump to it.
Jump, jump, jump to it.
I really feel that I jump, jump, jump to it. Oh, girl. Now, Kitty,
Jump to it.
you know when we talk, we have a lot of fun, don't we, girl? Dishing out the dirt on everybody and giving each other the 411 on who dropped kick 2 this week. You know what we're talking about. But when the baby calls, jump, dee-dee-dee-dee.
Jump to it.
When the baby calls,
Jump, jump, jump to it.
I really feel that I jump, jump, jump to it.
Jump to it.
Oh,
Jump, jump, jump to it.
ooh, boy, and I jump, jump, jump to it. Oh,
Jump, jump to it.
I really skip and I jump, jump, jump to it. Ooh, boy,
Jump, jump to it.
oh, and I jump, jump, jump to it.
Night changes things. You can't see exactly how, but you can feel it in your bones.
We want to talk right down to earth.
in a language that everybody here can easily understand.
Easily understand.
I'm only one step ahead of heartbreak, one step ahead of misery. One step is all I have to take backwards to be the same old fool for you I used to be. Only one step ahead of your eyes, one kiss
And she came with the same type game, the type of girl giving out the fake cell phone, the name Big Fame. She like catching big things, jewel ship, money clip, phone flip the 6 range. Had seen her on the ass, spotted her more than once. Ass so fat that you can see her from the front. She spot me like paparazzi, shot me a glance, and that Catwoman stands with the fat booty pants. Hot damn, what's your name, love? Where you came from? Neck and wrist laced up, very little makeup. The swims at the Reebok gym tone your frame up, a sugar and spice, the only thing that you made up. I tried to play it low key but couldn't keep it down. Asked her to dance and she was like, yo, I'm leaving now. An hour later, sounds from Jamaica. She sipping Chris straight up, skanking while in her waist up. Scene 2. My fam throwing the jam for Reed is on the stand. Big things is in the plans. The brother Big Moon makes space for me to move in here. Yo, this my man Most, baby, let me introduce. I turn around. You was the same pretty bird who I had priorly observed, trying to play me for the herd. Shocked to sell, she couldn't get it together. I just played along and pretended I never met her. How you feeling? No, I'm fine. My name is Mons. I'm Sharice. I heard so much good about you. It's nice to finally meet. He moved to the booth, reserved for crew especially, and Honey Love ended up sitting directly next to me. I'm type polite, but now I'm looking at her skeptically. Cause baby girl got all the right weaponry. Designer fabric, shoes and accessories. Chinky eyes, sweet voice, got me mentally. Be conversated, made her laugh, yeah, you know me, bro. Even though I know the stilo, she wild sweet, yo. I'm about to murk, I say peace to the family. She hop up like, how you gonna leave before you dance with me? Dance with me. She blew my whole head with that dude. I was like, what? I played it low though. I was like, yeah, alright, come on then, let's go. This is mad. She was so sick. I'm saying, yo, Honey was so blazing. She was just, what? Yo, she looked like Jane Kennedy, word bomb. To my mother, man. She was that L, man. She take me to the dance floor and she start whispering to me. Yo, let me apologize for the other night. I know it wasn't right, but baby, you know what it's like. Some brothers don't be coming right. I understand, I'm feeling you. Besides, can I have a dance? Ain't really that original. We laughed about it, traced the arms across my shoulder blades. They playing lovers rock, I got to fold the fingers on the waist. He in my butt up like the Arizona summer song finished. And she whispered, honey, let's exchange numbers. Scene 3. Weeks of dating, late night conversation in the crib, heart racing, trying to be cool and patient. She touched on my eyelids, the room fell silent. She walked away smiling, singing Gregory Isaacs like, if I don't, showing me a tan line and a tattoo, playing Sade, sweetest taboo, burning candles. All my other plans got canceled. Man, I smashed it like an Idaho potato. She called me at my jail, come now, I can't say no. Jensen tree trunks, rocking a P from cocking her knees up. Champion lover, not ease up. 3 months, she call, I feel I'm running a fever. 6 months, I'm telling her I desperately need her. 9 months, flu-like symptoms with shorty not around. I need more than to knock it down, I'm really trying to lock it down. Midnight, we hook up and go at it. Burn a slogan, let her know, sweetheart, I got to have it. She telling me commitment is something she can't manage. Wake up the next morning, she gone like it was magic. Oh, damn it. It's on Harrison, full frantic. My number one's an answer by my fly Taurus enchantress. Next week, who hit me up? I saw Sharice at the kitty club with some banging ass Asian playing. Lay it down and lick me up. Lick me up, lick me up, lick me up.
Listen, dear, I realize that you've been hurt deeply because I've been there. But regardless to who, what, why, when, and where, we're all precious in His sight. And a rose is still and always will be a rose.
chance to rehearse. So my newest girlfriend came in the trailer and we sat in the back and we talked little girl talk. We laughed, we had fun. And she's gonna come out shortly and join me on stage, okay? Shall we start the party? Are we ready? Start the party? Hey! Shake, shake, shake. Thank you so much. We love you. We love you. We'll be back shortly. Don't go nowhere.
When we return.
Thank you. stone. Hold your head, hold it up high, and don't you be afraid of the dark. For at the end of the storm, there is a golden sky. And the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, get your courage together, yeah, and walk on through the rain. Although your dreams be tossed, I know sometimes they get tossed and they get blown. What you gotta do is walk on. That sounds mighty, mighty good to me right now. Walk on. With just a little bit of a walk. Right on, right on. With just a little bit of walk in your eye. And you won't ever, God won't never, I know that He won't ever let you walk alone. No, He won't. You never.
to sing one of my favorite songs. Which one of them is it?
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace for Amazing Oprah.
Hi, YouTubers. I'm excited.
sound that sings I see through that same old grave. They call it God's amazing. Oh, amazing. Amazing grace. It was. I want the world to know that it was. that's gonna lead me and mine right on, right on, right on, right on, right on home, yeah. So say, so say, safe with Jesus. So say, and great will me.
They'll all Everybody's got a soul.